Hi there, welcome back to a new video. This is quite spontaneous right now. I just finished work and I feel a little bit tired, but the weather is so beautiful and I just had like those downloads, some thoughts just randomly coming in and I was like, okay, I want to film this sit down video right now. And maybe I'm going to do videos like this more often because I kind of like it to just go with the flow and naturally speaking. And I was just thinking about how important it is that we reclaim our focus and that we reclaim our energy to pour it back into ourselves. Because I feel like we live in a day and age where it's the most normal thing to see other people's life, like mostly because of the internet. And I think it's even harder nowadays to reclaim our time and focus and our energy because there's so much going on constantly around us. There are so many distractions, like we don't leave our houses without our phones anymore. And I think it's especially important to be in control of your time when you're trying to build something for yourself. Like, for example, if you want to build a business, or if you have like an art project, or I don't know, just like your own little project. And if you want it to succeed, it's so important that you know how valuable your time is and that you are in control of your time because everyone is constantly trying to get our time, right? Our attention is the price. So we have to remind ourselves constantly that we have to reclaim our time and energy. And there was a time before the internet when people had no choice but to focus on themselves. They literally had like a small circle, maybe like their close people, close friends, their neighbors, or people who lived in the same area. And they had their jobs or their projects, and they couldn't compare themselves to what someone else in a different city was doing. So we live in an age where there's constant comparison, and this can make us lose track of our own path because our focus and attention is split up. It's not only ours anymore. We focus it on other people as well. And also, comparison can lead to self doubt because there will always be someone out there who's doing the same thing or who has like similar goals or is in the same business. So, there's always room for comparison. And this can really negatively also influence our productivity because when we have self doubts, and when we think, oh, there's someone else doing it already, maybe there's no point in doing it at all because we can never be as good as them. This can be so misleading and this can really put us down. And in that time before the internet, before social media, there just wasn't that much comparison. Like the generation of our grandparents, they didn't have those resources to compare themselves. The only thing they could do was to go step by step and stay in line with their own personal goals. And I think the hardest part for us is to have self control and to intentionally try to rebuild this muscle to stay focused on ourselves and not to look right and left all the time because that isn't serving us and that isn't serving our productivity and our goals. Of course, it can be inspiring sometimes to talk to other people or to see other people doing same things, but in the end, consuming should always take less time than producing and then being active ourselves. Also, online, we often just see like the filtered reality. We don't see the whole picture. So that's also not the same as it was in older generations. When they talked to someone, it was real. But for us, we can see things online which are just like snippets of other people's lives, just like curated snippets of the reality. And back in the days when there were no smartphones, people were also forced to listen to their own instincts more. They had to trust their inner voice, had to stay in focus, and also weren't distracted by the constant noise of other people's lives. And also, true breakthroughs happen in moments of silence. And also, creativity needs space. Creativity needs its own room. And constantly consuming others' work is filling up that space and stifles your own ideas because real creative breakthroughs and good ideas, they emerge through boredom or through moments of stillness. And that is also another important point. But yeah, I guess what I want to say is just that we have to remember sometimes that we can reclaim our energy and that we have the power and that we are not controlled by outer forces, but we are in control of our own projects, our own goals, and that time is actually so valuable and that people pay money for our attention and our time. So, yeah, if you have like own projects or own things that you really want to achieve, that you want to get done, then just stay in line with yourself, trust your intuition, don't let yourself get too distracted. Another thing that's really important is to also say no to useless appointments. That sounds a little bit harsh, but lately I just learned that I value the time that I have with myself for my own little goals so much more than going into a random bar for the third time in a week, or to have like conversations that don't really serve me or inspire me or that are just a little bit superficial. So it's also really important to learn to say no to people, and that is also reclaiming your time back. So, yeah, I hope that today's video kind of inspired you or brought you back to yourself a little bit more. And I hope that you have a wonderful day wherever you are. And I wish you all the best. See you in my next one really soon. Bye.